Hello, everybody. Reggie Time here, and you join me right at the start of a session on 25NL Unibet. You've seen almost everything of the session, or you're about to see almost everything of the session. Um, we're going to discuss some hot topics in the poker um, landscape during time, and also just like play some poker and discuss the spots that we're in. We opened this pocket jacks. We checked the flop. Villain checked back. I think we're going to start trying to get some value now for our hand. We don't get any value. I think I want to call this turn and then probably fold river on the bottom right table. River two pairs, but it's 4 to a flush. I think it's going to go check, check a lot. We might beat an ace a decent amount, but we'll see. Not check calling 6 bigs. The reason I'm playing on Unibet today, 25 minutes, it's not my usual regular game, but I put some money in late last night with the intention of making this video this morning, and I had a reasonable session. I only put £200 on, but it was a decent session. And we're having another go this morning because I'm a result orientated cunt. I'm like, yeah, let's play that again. Raising the ace 7 off on the bottom right table, defending the ace jack off with a flat versus button 3x on the top left table. Probably going to be check calling down here on a lot of runouts, I would imagine. Not c betting the ace 7 on the bottom right. Do we start leading this turn with our ace jack? I think probably at some frequency. I don't know what frequency. Maybe like a third of the time. I'm just going to keep checking though. We've turned a pair bottom right, so I guess we have to call versus the lead. And now I think we just lead this river top left table. Flop top set, blind versus blind. We're going to go for a check raise. Try and show our hand down here, and we lose. Opening the king queen suited. We might not get onto these hot topics. Action pack start. Now we're just going to start betting quite big with our set of jacks, given the flop check through, and we get the fold. We have a gut shot and a flush draw down at the bottom left table, and we get led into. I don't particularly want to reopen the betting, so we're not going to raise this donk bet, even though really, theoretically, shouldn't be a lot of donking on this board. This player's clearly a recreational player. So we're not going to try and semi-bluff a recreational player when we have this much equity. We're just going to try and realise. Easy call again. And probably have to just fold the river versus a third barrel unimproved. And that is the brickiest of runouts. Nothing much we're going to be able to do here. He bets one blind on the end. This is the losing call. I think he probably has a jack. I don't want to raise because I don't think we're going to get to fold very often, but I would like to see how he's donking on these boards. He did have a jack, not at all surprised by that. I think versus bigger bets we would just fold there, but one big blind to get some good information on how he's constructing his donking ranges. Seems like one big blind well spent to me. We're opening for minimum here just because I don't want a 3x. In my usual games, I tend to 3x because when playing against a lot of loose passive players, my default assumption in these games is we're playing against a bunch of nits, and then when we're not playing against nits, we're going to be playing against fish. And yeah, I'm just happy to min open as a default. We've been small 3-bet here. We're just going to fold the jack queen off, defend the queen 10 suited versus min from under the gun. Get a reasonable flop. Going to be check calling. Turn theoretically is a really good card for us. I think I'm going to start having some leads here. I think we're going to make it like 3.5 big, something like that. I hope not to get raised because that would stink. and river when he snap calls, and we're blocking a lot of draws we'd like him to have. We'd like him to have a queen. We'd like him to have like queen, jack, queen, 10. We'd like him to have diamonds. I'm not going to bluff this river. And we lose to the king 10. Yeah. So my first hot topic, I was watching a Charlie Carroll stream last night that started off a bit extreme. He was asking like, poker coaches scammers or something like that, and he had Jalderman and Pete Clark on, and while he had those two on, it was a like relatively reasonable stream, and then it went downhill because a bunch of fucking no marks came on and started talking to him, and I stopped watching. And then I went back 2 hours later, and he was still fucking going on. And apparently, some people like who I know were watching the whole stream were like, "Yeah, it's just gone off the rails, Reg. It's a fucking mess." But I think like the premise of our poker coaches scammers is like a reasonable question to ask, but outing people without really, and he hadn't done enough research. He was out of line, in my opinion. As someone who's done a little bit of like coaching in the past, I think it's too difficult a question to just say yes or no. For example, am I good enough to coach some people at poker? Yes. Is it fair if I charge £100 an hour? No, it's not. If someone is losing at 5 and L, wants to talk to me and get some up, they haven't got anyone else to talk to about poker, they're not part of any communities, etc. They want to talk to me about poker to help them improve a little bit. So if they do that, they're playing 5 and L and I charge them £12.50 an hour, am I scamming them? No, I don't think I am. If I charge them £50 an hour, yes, I would be. It would also depend what their goals were and what games they were playing in. If they were playing speed poker and refused to move out of speed poker, um, my value to them would be less than if they were, etc. And I think that goes for any coach. It's who's charging anything from like 15, £20 an hour, all the way up to £1,000 an hour. It's going to be subjective. You can't just objectively say yes or no. Something is or isn't value. Something is or isn't a scam. I mean, I've been doing the coaching since 2013. I've not had one single person in all that time take to the internet to say I'm a scammer. People have had different experiences. Not everyone's improved. Some people have bought sessions and then had two or three and literally never contacted me again. So presuming those people haven't got as much from it as perhaps they would have hoped. Is that down to me? Sometimes, maybe, not always. Um, so yeah, I think he was doing it. He's just obviously just trying to get clicks for something or other. I think it was a badly framed question. I think yes, probably there are some people who are overcharging for their services, but to call people to like flat out say use like really controversial language, it's not for me. There's a lot of stuff about Charlie Carroll I like. There's a lot of stuff I think he's a fucking nut job. But yeah, I think he was a bit out of line last night. And yeah, I don't necessarily. I mean, for example, do I think Pete Clark is a scammer? No, I don't. Do I think Jalderman's a scammer? No, I don't. I don't know what either of those charge for private one-to-one coaching. Um, but I mean, I'm aware of both of them. I've watched both of them on streams and YouTube and what have you, and there's no chance. They're both theoretically incredibly good poker players. If they were charging £10,000 an hour, yeah, they're ripping people off. But assuming that their pricing is reasonable, then, and I have no reason to think there isn't, because if their pricing wasn't reasonable, I'm sure I would have heard about it. So assuming their pricing is reasonable, then no, of course they're not. And for him to like basically call them both out is out of line, in my opinion. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about that, because I'm genuinely interested in like terms of like someone like myself who I genuinely I pride myself on my integrity, and we'll get back to this in a moment because we've been four bet by someone I presume is a fish. I'd rather we had 100 big blinds here, but we're going to call because that answer's too strong to fold. But we're really not in love with this situation. Really, really not in love. Expecting a lot of very big bets from this player here. Yeah, all in. Not surprised. Maybe we can just get away with folding that pre against that stack depth and against this player who we think is probably a fish. Yeah, we're just gonna fold now. So yeah, I'm genuinely interested, and like I know a lot, almost none of you guys have worked with me. Any of you guys who have worked with me, if you want to comment for balance, because I'm going to be sure there's going to be a few like people who aren't necessarily a fan of me and giving them an open shot at me here, really. Yeah, someone like me charging £12 to £15 an hour to losing microstakes poker players. Am I a scammer? Do you think I offer value? Am I just basically a scumbag? Let me know. Calling here. This is under the gun. Here we have a gut shot, backdoor flush draw, multi-way. We'll start with a check. We turned a pair, but this guy's led out from this position. I think we probably need to call, but I'm deeply unhappy about it. Here we have a trivial call. We do turn the straight. And here, top right, we're just going to have an easy fold. We do beat some bluffs, but we don't beat any of his value range, I don't think. This guy's now bet again. If either of these guys have got king queen, then it's just our turn to die. I think we have a crystal clear raise here. Check raise. No matter what size. We're going to do that. Yeah, we're going to fold to this large turn bet. We're going to check back this flop on the top left with the queens. Going to start betting now we have a full house. Looks like we're going to get folds on this bottom left table, sadly. Yeah, we do. Never mind. Going to fold the queen 8 here. We have flopped a gut shot here against big blind, 4, 8, 10. I think we're going to start with a bet, just a small one. Isolate our 2 8s on the top right table, or try to isolate. Ace Jack off. I was playing this guy last night. I think he's probably some kind of reg, doesn't always top up. Gonna be respectful and just fold the ace jack off. Checking back the 8s here. No reason to bet, really. Not a big fan of like betting, quote unquote, for protection. Don't think it's necessarily a good strategy. And our hand's too weak to bet for value. I think on the turn versus lead, we're just going to fold like a fanny. 8-6 suited's going to be a flat on the bottom right table, and it's going to be a check and a fold, I would imagine. Unless he goes small. He doesn't go small, he goes big. Thank you, we'll just fold, sir. I don't think I'm going to make these games my like regular games. I think the site I play on, the skin I play on, I think Unibet's a better option at certain times of day. So maybe I'll keep some money on Unibet just to help me increase my volume. Because I think like the games I play lately, like the last month or so, there seems to be like from 11:30 at night to like two or so in the morning. There just seems to be like an influx of like bad tight regs all coming into the games and just like filling all the empty slots on the tables, and the games just get pretty bad for a while. And it's a very high rake environment where I play, so there, when the games are soft, I don't give a fuck that the rake's high. I'll keep playing there. But when the games aren't as soft as they can be, I think it doesn't make as much sense to play there and pay the high rake. So having somewhere else to run away to when I want to grind at like early hours, like late evening to early hours, it seems like a good idea to me. Um, so I'm probably gonna keep Unibet as an option, unless I think the games are just that shit. They're not worth bothering with. Um, I think these games are pretty fucking nitty on Unibet. To be fair, they're not excessively aggressive. They're just nitty. But there are clearly fish around. We've got this guy, not a full stack. Um, Here, not a full stack, not a full stack, not a full stack. So the games are clearly okay. I mean, this fixie hands at 2 tables, but he's not reloading it either. So at best, he's a shit reg, tight fish type thing. Okay, we've defended big blind here versus button on the top left table. We have a good shot and 2 overcards and a backdoor flush draw, so we're not going anywhere just yet. We are going to 3-bet our ace queen, bottom right table. Continuing checking here, top left. And doesn't feel like we need to bluff. And what better hand are we getting? Is he folding a pair? Probably not. Is he folding ace jack? I mean, it just seems too thin to bluff. And we are not c-betting the ace queen versus someone we think is recreational on a 6-high board. We are going to start betting now. It will stink if we get raised, but we have a definite value bet. And we're going to hope for a check on the river because we're not putting any more money in. And he had a flush. Good hand, sir. A flush is a good hand. But yeah, clearly recreational. I mean, the king 8 open under the gun, fine. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, seems like a wreck to me in everything I've seen so far. This guy's limping the button, probably a wreck or a tight fish. Is queen deuce multi-way against 2 recreationals? This is a spot where I would advise range checking quite a lot in multi-way pot, etc. But we are up against 2 recreational players, and I just want to start building a pot with what is very likely to be the best hand. Turn is a brick. I think we can still continue betting here. Again, it would really stink to get raised, but it would stink to just give free cards too when we can get, when I think we can get quite a bit of value. And river, torn between check and bet. I think we're just going to block for like 9 bigs. Hope to get called by like queen jack or something, queen 10. We get the fold. Here with the king 9 suited. Just going to go with the small bet here. I think it's especially good bet, but I'd rather just keep the initiative, like dissuade him from probing when we check back, etc. Here with the king 10, 2 overs, backdoor flush draw. Again, we're just going to start with the small bet, more like a pot control measure to stop them probing large on turns, etc. We get check raised. We have the easiest fold in history. This guy check call, check again. We're just going to bet, try and fold out like ace high floats. Not trying to make him fold like a better made hand. Yeah, that wasn't what we're trying to make him fold. I think theoretically he shouldn't fold ace high very often there, but I think in practice people just will enough of the time. Checking here with the 9-8. God, this feels fast when we're trying to talk about everything. We turn the nuts. So we're going to bet. And we get a fold. Pocket eights on the button is just going to be a flat. Here's 7 offsuit. No idea if this can be a 3-bet or not, but I'm not going to. We've been min squeezed up here. Let's hit an 8, please, dealer, and stack Andrea. Okay, we haven't flopped an 8. Ace 7 off. This guy's just like, who knows what he's doing with his turn of his like c-bet strategy. But for now, we'll just assume he has something better than us and fold and monitor the situation going forward. Here we don't want to call, but we can't not call versus one big blind. I think this is going to be like pocket jacks a lot, pocket tens a lot, stuff like that. But clearly we can't fold with the price we're getting. Yeah, we're just going to lose to pocket tens here a lot, aren't we? Oh, we're going to beat ace 9. It either works for me. Okay, so we've 3-bet this recreational player who's called. And we're just going to try and get the money in over 3 streets. We're going to kick off with like about 8 bigs. Seems reasonable. Going to c-bet small here with our gut shot. We get raised, which is hopefully nice. We're just going to be all in. We don't want a king to get scared. Second time this guy's check raised us. This time we have a nut draw, so we're calling. We turn the nuts. We're all in here, and just hope he calls with a king. Oh, he has 2 pairs, kings and nines. Oh, we get there though. Happy days. We've turned the nuts here. We're now going to raise because this guy's going to check raise bet, so he's probably not got many folds in him. But he just found a fold. So he gets a reg. I think that 3-bet on that turn raise would be bad against someone who's recreational, who I think is probably going to be very value heavy. I'm just going to fast play my strong hands. Sadly, it turned out he did have a bluff there, or he had a weak made hand. It was nice to get there against that recreational player. It was a good get there, because I was a little bit miffed that he had a better hand. But then we got there, so go us. Trivial fold up here with the ace 10 off. I'm going to wait for it to get to me. It's that trivial. Trivial fold here with the... Is this guy's at least 2 tables, is he? Yep. And he's 3-bet me a couple of times. Doesn't know it's me, of course, because I'm 2 different players. We'll bear that in mind. Keep an eye on him. Ace Queen off. Now, we just done a GTO Wizard video which says we're allowed to flat small blinds. I have no idea if we're allowed to flat this in this spot or not, but fuck it. We're going to give it a go. We have a recreational player, VIP, call them what you will in the big blind. I'm happy to have him enter the pot. 3-betting the jacks here. We are 3-betting bigger than we 3-bet previously in position. That's because of the positions are different. This guy's gone with his min 3-bet again. Last time he had ace 9 off, so ace queen off might be the fucking nuts here. And he's gone with his 1 big blind again. We've seen this before, haven't we? We've seen this film before. We had a slightly better hand last time than we got here. And now he's upsized on the turn, or sized up on the turn. So we're going to give that some respect and just fold, even though we have a nut draw. Plot the absolute nuts over here on a board that's pretty good for our range. So we're not going to do small betting. We're just going to do big betting and hope our opponent has something he can continue with. Sadly, he doesn't. The second thing I wanted to talk about, now things are quieting down a little bit for the time being, is RTA use. And this is a pretty broad subject because, like, what is RTA? For those who don't know what RTA is, it stands for real-time assistance. That's people, like, in the most like excessive sense. It's people just like running like a bot on the side or whatever, running a bot in a game that's just playing for them, or that's not really RTA. That's more literally just botting. Well, or just like running simulations on the side when you're playing, so you can like play perfect poker. And it could be from like literally doing that, having some sort of like supercomputer, having two computers running, etc., running sims for every spot, and like just trying to play perfectly. So it's as extreme as that, which I think probably almost no one's doing it, especially at the low stakes, because it's just, I imagine, incredibly difficult to do. And yeah, I just don't think it's happening at the low stakes. What I think might be happening at low stakes, um, let me just get back to this in a moment because we've got this. We're gonna like overbet this turn with the. We picked up some equity and we've picked up like a good hand, good card to like bluff on. This player's called twice. We're going to give up on this river. We overbet turns. We pick up equity, and the ace is a card that should give us some forward equity. But he snap called, and then he decides he just wants to have a donking range on this river, which is just fine by me. I wasn't bluffing anyway. We're going to call here with the nines. I think what's happening more in low stakes games is that people have. This guy's done another min squeeze. People just have charts that they're using on the side, and we've all done this, or most of us have done it. We've had charts up when we're playing. The problem with the charts these days is like some of the solver sites like GTO Wizard, I don't know if others do, but I'm pretty sure that Run It Once has something for PLO and what have you, because I saw quite a discussion last week on Twitter about it, where like they have like a library of solve spots, and you can just like click, right, buttons opened, what's my 3-bet range in a small blind, and you can do that relatively efficiently. Is it cheating? Yeah. Is there anything we can do about it as a community? No. Is there any point getting cross about it? No. Because you've got like we have rules in poker that you're like, don't use, we're not allowed to use RTA. But if the RTA that people are using is web based, there's nothing any site can do to police that, to the best of my knowledge. So if you can't legislate for something you can't police, basically, and we can't police RTA, not whilst it's currently being like given to us in web form, in like from web pages. Can't police it. We'll get back to this more in a moment. Right. I think we have to check call here, though we're not in love with it. Now we're more in love with it. This guy just led out. I'd prefer to have deeper stacks so we could call, but he doesn't. So we're going to fold. We're going to check here again. Yes, 10 suited here. We're going to flat because we just done a GTO with a preview video where we can just flat whatever the fuck we want, apparently, from the small blind. That's not quite true, but it's true enough. And I'm going to undoubtedly overdo it. Hoping not to get raced here on the river because humans don't find enough bluffs in these spots, and we've got a very strong hand. Still checking the ace 10 here, folding the ace 9 suited to the 3-bet. Yeah, so back to the RTA. Yeah, there's if you can't police it, and I'm pretty sure sites can't police it because whilst they're allowed to, like PokerStars, if I was playing on PokerStars with Equilab open, it would say, no, fuck off, mate, you're not allowed to do that. And it would give you a warning. So they obviously know when you've got that open. On Party Poker, sometimes when I've gone to play on there and I've accidentally left my Hold'em manager open, it's just closed the client. It's been like, nah, you can't do that, mate. Even though it's impossible to get a HUD on there, it's still noticed that I've had it open, and it's shook its finger at me. It said, stop it, Reggie. And then when I've closed the client and what have you, and like closed it in my task manager, and real party poker's been fine. So we know that they're allowed to look at like any programs we have running whilst we're playing, but they're not allowed to look at like our browser and what we're looking at on our browser, which is just fine because some people might want to look at hairy granny midget porn when they're playing, and frankly, that's none of PokerStars or GG or anyone else's fucking business. If you want to look at fucking granny midget porn when you're playing, then that's completely up to you, and it's not for anyone to be able to look at you and do that. So that's right, for our privacy purposes, it's completely right and how it should be. But because things like GTO Wizard and Run It Once is Solver can be like ran through a web page, it does leave it open for players to use those services, use those products whilst playing. And there's nothing can be done about it unless the people who provide these services decide to not make their just like to remove the option to play through a browser, to practice through a browser, whatever. Unless they remove that option, then there's very little can be done about it. There's been talk about them making them slower, but I agree that they shouldn't have to make them slower because people wouldn't use them then, or the people in the market that had the fastest one would just corner the market. So I think make like the argument to make them slower doesn't cut any ice with me. I think the only argument is they all agree every like person who every entity who has these web-based solvers or web-based like solves library of solves. The only thing they can do is like all agree to like take it off web browser or take it off being browser based and make it an app that can be detected by sites. That could work. Something I'd be very much in favour of. But whilst we're in the situation we're in, for me, there's just no point crying about it. It's there. Some people are doing it, and there's fuck all you can do. So yeah, just don't fucking cry about it. I guess that's the environment you're in. If you choose not to participate in that environment, then that's your choice. But to participate and say we need to stop this, or or what have you, and then not offer any solutions on how to stop it, it's just like whatever. You're just shouting into the fucking wind, aren't you? Pointing at airplanes, you're shouting at airplanes. It's yeah. I'd rather it wasn't a thing, but it is, and it's going to be hard to police until the people who create that software um, come to some sort of agreement on how they can actually provide the software without compromising game integrity. And even if they do, there'll still be some people somewhere, not at the micro stakes, of course, but at higher stakes, there will still be some people somewhere who will find a way to use real time assistance in game. Where there's money, where there's gambling, there will be cheats. Simple as that. It's nothing new. It's been happening ever since fucking gambling began. Um, in the old fucking Wild West. In like Dor Brunson's book, he has like tales of people cheating, marking cards, scuffing cards, putting peeps in fucking ceilings of poker games, people using fucking mirrors, people using fucking signalers. There's always been cheating, and there always will be. It's nothing new. Um, yeah, just one of them things. It's the environment that we put ourselves in, well, we choose to put ourselves in. If you're not aware of the cheating, then I feel sorry for you because you think you're in a fair environment and you're not. But if you're remotely worldly, you will be aware that every time you gamble, be it in a casino, be it in a pub, in a live game online, there is a chance, non-zero chance, that someone somewhere will be cheating you. Just deal with it. Like on the internet. I mean, it's the easiest thing in the world is for me to just like get on the table with two people I know and just share reads, share whole kind of information, share everything. I don't do that, and very few people do, I would imagine. But if you tell me it's never happened, or you think it's never happened, then yeah, you're full of shit. Of course it has. Whether that's just some mates not knowing the cheating, like just on a call, let's play some online poker, have a chat. Oh fuck me, I folded ace queen there when the mate's still in the pot or whatever. That's theoretically cheating, even though they're not like before the call, they haven't decided to cheat. But they are just like sharing whole kind of information because they don't know any better. Or it could just be a very well organised bit of cheating, especially at PLO where like removal is really important. So yeah, there's loads of ways people can cheat. We had this spot in the study session earlier. I elected to bet and I was told off for it, so we're not going to here. We are going to call the turn probe and probably fold river unless he bets small. think because like diamonds have missed, Jack tens missed, etc. I think we probably have to call here. Maybe his value betting a worse queen sometimes. It's really thin. I think he's probably losing money this call, but I'm gonna make it. Yeah, not surprised to see that call lose money against. I mean, I was playing with this guy last night. I'm pretty sure he's just like a fucking nit, basically. Here we're gonna three bet the kings. So yeah, that's my thoughts on real time. I didn't really get them all out because I'm too busy playing, but yeah, those are my thoughts on those two particular topics. Here we've opened ace deuce under the gun. We've got two callers. Um, we are going to start betting for value. Here we have the two kings. We three bet and we got many callers. I'm going to check this heavily multi-way. And we are going to check again. And versus this player who's betting to three people behind him, we're just going to be very disciplined and fold the kings. Here we have defended the big blind and we flopped two pairs. We're going to check and try and get a raise in. Sadly, we had denied that opportunity and our hand gets weakened on the turn because we're now behind two over pairs. It's not going to stop me from betting because I don't think we're up against over pairs very often. We can still get value from Jack X, pocket tens, other smaller pocket pairs, etc. We do just take it down. I think this could easily have been a three bet pre, but I chose not to. This guy blocks. Let me just see some of his hands at showdown against other players because I think he's a nit. But obviously, I don't have any like actual data to back that up. Right, so he's 2.4x now. He's like 3xing from earlier position, which used to be a thing. It's not much of a thing anymore now. It's more like smaller in earlier position. If you're gonna like adjust your size by position, usually it's smaller. The earlier you are in to go pre-flop, the smaller your size is, and then you get bigger towards the button. So yeah, my read on this guy is still going to be like tight, but maybe a bit shit. Bit like me, really. And you think I'm better than him, of course I do. But yeah, that's my read on this guy because like we saw him 2.4x here from I think it was like cut off or something, and then he's 3xing from middle position. Now he could be doing that based entirely on hand strength, or he could be doing it based on position. Either way, it's bad. This guy's come with another min three bet. Um, Good for him. We flopped an open ender. Best bet one blind, please, sir. Thank you. Just bet one blind again, please, sir. Thank you. And if we could get there, that'd be nice. Nah, we don't get there. Last time we did this, he had a bluff, didn't he? He went 1-1-1. Um, we can't call. Can we raise so? Last time we did this, he had ace nine and he was bluffing. So we're actually gonna try and like take him off an ace here. Could be an enormous mistake. Because we know this guy's not going to fold like a better made hand. But yeah, it gets through. Happy days. That might be a punt, but I'm happy with it. Happy with my reasoning. Happy with the logic of it. Just trying to make it fold ace high, or you know, obviously you can have some hands that are worse than ours. then we're just making him for worse hands. But I don't think we can call there. But I think we can raise based on what we know about him. Ace 4 suited here against big blind. Checking back. Folding to the turn probe. So this guy limps 4-3 off in the small blind. That's not a thing, sir. Yep, our read is fast becoming confirmed. This is why you probably don't want to use the same screen name on Unibet every day. I won't be doing this. This is also why I'm happy to like show my live play, because tomorrow I won't be Baldurn anymore. I won't be Angry Old Man Coffee anymore. I won't be Don with the Dick anymore. I won't be Four Candles. I'll be one of these four, but that's all. So you can like disguise who you are, disguise your play pretty nicely. Just checking back the ace high here. Never going to get a better hand to fold. Not a good board for our range, and we might have the best hand. Flopping a gut shot here. We're going to kick up with a small bet. Could just bet one blind here rather than fucking like scrolling the wheel up and down to get to 1.2. I don't think it makes any difference. I think it will just start like doing quite a bit of min C betting. It's virtually quarter pot. So you don't have a 1/3 button here, and I'm fucking way too bastard lazy to type. For those of you who don't know, I do play poker lying down. So if I want to type when I'm playing, I have to prop myself up on my elbow. Here we go. This guy now, he's got 3x in the cutoff now. He had 2.4 earlier. So it looks like he's doing it based on sizing. I mean, this guy, let's just see how depraved he is. We're all in because he likes min 3-betting. Let's see how depraved he is. See if he will just 3-bet, call it off with something shit. This is obviously pretty shit. Obviously pretty shit from me. But whatever. It's going to make money. It's going to make money. That's shit. But who cares? Not me. What I didn't want to do there is like 4-bet to like fucking 17 or whatever. 16. Him flat, us miss, and then just be like stuck in absolute no man's land versus a whopper. So I think my 4-bet size versus him is just going to be all in. Except when I've got like really, really good hands, then I'm not going to be all in. But he would just never adjust, so it doesn't matter. I did a video last week about like how speed poker's like fucking having an addiction to fucking crack. Totally stand by that for the record. And like these tables here are a pretty good example. We're playing 25 and L here. And yeah, there are plenty of nits around and tight players. But the difference is like we have a fish like Andrea here. We had some earlier. This guy, well, no, I can't remember. But we had some fish at other tables too. Maybe not as much now, to be honest with you. This table do look a bit shit. But basically, in speed poker, when you have one fish in the pool, or maybe two or three fish in a pool of 30 odd players, you don't get access to those fish very often. Whereas when you're playing regular tables, we have access to this guy every single fucking hand. I mean, these tables now, we don't know because but the tables have changed a bit since the start. There seems to be less um, sub 100 big blind stacks around now, which is usually indication that you're up against more regular type players. It could just be the fish binding for Fulham. We'll find out more as we go along. Yeah, it's every chance I'm playing in bad games right now. But at least when we do have a fish, we have access to them every hand, which is something we don't have in speed poker. So even if like the overall VPR part of these tables I'm in now is similar to speed poker, I still think this is a better game than speed poker because we're playing regular tables. People will get bored and just play hands they shouldn't play. More likely to do that. We get to notice things like his sizing tell or his potential sizing tell more easily because we see them every single hand. We don't know what his sizing tell means yet, but we're pretty confident he's got one. We now know this guy's like a recreational / VIP player because this sizing is. I mean, we're gonna have to fold to it, but it's an incredibly poor sizing. Ace five suited here versus somebody we think might be bad, and then their 3-bet size and small blind kind of confirms it. I don't want to 4-bet bluff versus these people against this type of player who I think is very likely that they're not finding enough like 3-bets. So we're just going to take a flop because our hand's too strong to fold, and we have position, and his 3-bet was too small, in my opinion. He's gone with the standard like smallish c-bet on this flop, and we're not going to continue because we've got no backdoor or anything so to speak of. Nothing, nothing much to like about our hand, so we'll just fold. King Jack off, trivial fold versus the small blind 3-bet. Versus best player, who I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe he isn't the best player given he's limping and not reloading, and he's already playing 25 and L. ISO with the ace 5. Flop ourselves a pair. The question is, do we want to value bet? How likely do I think it is this player's going to probe turn with a worse hand if we check? I think we're just going to bet small here just to like deny equity or try and deny equity to some like 2 random overcards or 1 random overcard like an ace, whatever, ace 7, king 8 suited, that type of thing. We're not trying to make him fold a good hand, we're just trying to make him fold hands that we're ahead of that have equity but aren't really going to continue versus the bet. So when I talk about denying equity, I'm not talking about like making a flush draw fold there, for example. I'm just talking about making Queen 10 fold, Queen 10 offsuit. Let's just have you fold. Because you have equity and I don't think you're likely to bluff with it. And I just don't just want to let you like realize it for free. I've run the game with another min 3 bet. I've never known someone min 3 bet quite as much as this guy, and I play on a pretty soft site where min 3 betting is quite a thing. Sadly, we've completely bricked, and Andrea Adu, ace 2, is going to win this pot. Not yet, they're not for one big. They're going to milk us one big blind at a time with ace high here, aren't they? That's what they're going to do. I mean, king high could be good. The guy min 3 bets a lot. King high might be good. I doubt it, but it might be. Oh, now he checks on the jack. When we're not going to turn our hand into a bluff. When we're not going to win very often. 6-7. We've rivered a pair over here. Just going to check it back. Look at that. The ace king off, turning over the ace king suited. Don't you just love poker? Don't you get it in with the same hand and with like a 2% edge or a 4% edge and then lose anyway? Fucking marvellous game. I saw the jacks versus the under the gun limper up here. Flop a pair, checking back on the top right table, turning a flush draw. He probes. We have the easiest call ever. We river trips, which is nice. We raise fold this river. Certainly raise fold versus half pot. What size do I want to go? Just under 20, I think. Checking the jacks on the ace high flop multi-way. Oh, glad I saw that. I was about to click call then. Easy fold here with the jacks. Annoying, but easy fold. Not going to see bet jack queen just yet. Maybe have some delayed aggression in this hand. Not opening the fours. He probed the turn last time. He hasn't this time. Not really worth very much on its own, that information, but we are going to try and bluff now. And we're going to bet 2 streets unless he raises. We get the fold. Come on, humbug bet. Get on with it. We're going to see a flop, please, dealer. Uh, what do we make of this flop? Let's see a flop on the bottom right table too, please, dealer. And we'd love to see at least 1-3. There. Obviously checking our 2 pairs on the monotone flop. Guy bets. Don't love it, don't hate it. Well, it's against a guy we think's a bit of a nit, but he can certainly be like trying to value bet some worse hands here. What we don't want to do is call and then see a club on the turn. Let's see like a brick run out, and hopefully we end up having the best hand and we don't just run into a flush. Getting ready to get min 3 bet by Andrea. That's the first brick. Not going to be in love with just calling a triple against this guy. It's a bad river. Bad turn against Andrea as well. Can't fold, of course, because it's Andrea. Wow! He did flop a flush. He didn't bet the turn. Yeah, my read on this guy being an absolute uber nit could be true. I think he just has to bet that turn there. I get his check back on the river. No issue with his river check back, but I think his turn check back is too conservative, in my opinion. Versus 4 big blind. I'm not happy, but we're clearly not folding a hand as powerful as 5-6 suited before the flop. We'll just fold it on the flop instead. Not going to stab here. He's not reloading. He's 4xing from the small blind. He might be doing all kinds of weird things. We might have a bluff at some point during his hand, but not right at this moment. Versus 2 checks. Fine, if he's trapping us, good for him. I think it looks a lot like he might have an underpair here or some ace highs. So we're going to bet twice and just hope to fold out the ace highs and just deal with it when we get called by pairs. We do just win the pot though. Top left table's taken a distinct turn for the worse. Now Andrea's left. So I don't think these games. I didn't expect them to be particularly good at this time in the morning. Don't think they are particularly good, but they're not horrendous either. We could flat this on the button, I think quite reasonably. But we want to try and isolate someone who we think might be bad. Do open ourselves to being 4-bet with a hand that really would enjoy taking a flop, but these are the checks and balances that we have to think about when we're deciding whether to 3-bet or not. Going to squeeze here with the jacks. And desperately hope this guy doesn't 4-bet, because that would stink. Maybe that's too small as well. Maybe we should have gone like one bigger there. Somewhere closer to 14 bigs. We do fade the 4-bet. And if Humbuck bet now back raises, we're just going to be all in. Doesn't back raise. When he goes call, I think he's way more likely to be in like the pocket pair region than he is to having much Queen X. Uncomfortable spot. We're going to start with a check. And we're going to keep checking. This guy, similar time to last time, with race pre, but he 4x, this time he 3x. He went check, check, check last time. Now he's betting. I think our hand's too strong to fold. And this one out is not ideal for jacks. Check and just hope to beat like pocket 9s, pocket 6s, etc. No, we don't beat pocket 6s, short reg. Checking back the 8s, not super hopeful about winning. Nope. Which is a leak of mine, because I think this should just be a full, but our hand is so under repped. He might just be like value betting pocket 9s now, because I think we beat a sliver of value and all bluffs we're going to call, but I think it's probably a bad call. Nope, we win. I think I do that too often in general. I just convince myself I'm under rep my hand, blah, blah, blah. I think this top left table is awful, by the way. Utterly awful. But we'll keep going. Checking back the ace queen. Defending the ace 7 suited. Even though I don't expect this guy to do much light C betting because of how we profiled him, we're still going to check our hand. We are going to start probing the turn now. And just taking our ace queen to showdown. Losing to king 4. We've got a recreational player, or a VIP as I now like to call them. I heard someone call them VIP on the stream, and I liked it. I prefer VIP to recreational players, so I'm going to try and change my lingo for these types of players to now as VIPs, because that's exactly how they should be treated at the tables. They should be treated like a VIP. So, yep, we have a VIP back. Pocket 9s. Really do not enjoy the thought of squeezing here. I suspect we probably can squeeze, but I'm not going to. And easy fold now. Five six suited. This guy's just lost a big pot. Could be an all in any two mode. 5 6 suited would be a very marginal open anyway in that spot. Even more marginal when you've got someone with 11 bigs behind you. I'm four-handed at this table, which is unideal. I'm not. I'm well. I'm a nit. Four-handed play does not play to my strengths as a player, especially four-handed without a VIP. So we are going to leave this table next blind and try and find another one. Someone sat back in, so fuck it. We'll just keep playing. We have a new player. I was only leaving. I mean, I don't really care that the games might not be great. The table might not be great. It was more. It's not a great table, and it's also four-handed. That was my main driver for wanting to leave. I mean, this guy could be a reg too. Who knows? Ace Jack suited. It's going to be for me, pure call. Ace Jack off versus under the gun is going to be a fold. If he bets small here, we might continue. We've got a little bit of backdoor equity. I think this is close between call and fold, but we're going to call. And there's a chance we might check raise his turn. Be a sad check raise because we'll have to fold to a shove, but we might check raise his turn. It's not a great board for a cut off 3-betting range. He does check back. I think I'm going to bluff here. Just try and fold out like ace queen, ace king. Which you probably shouldn't see bet those hands too often, but people do. I also don't want like some of his bluffs to bluff me. I'm just going to hope this makes him fold like an ace queen, ace king type holding. I can have like loads and loads of pocket pairs. He can't just Call all the time with ace high here. We win the pot. Not sure that was a good line by me, but we won the pot. Don't want to squeeze the ace queen here, so we're not going to. I think when he goes bet call, even though we have a gut shot, just going to let the ace queen go. This guy didn't see bet this flop. It's not a mandatory see bet. He can still have lots of better hands than us. We do have picked up some equity though, so we're going to check and probably have to call. Just check now. Expect to lose a lot, but maybe sometimes win against hands that just give up from the start. We were up against a set down here and another set. We were up against many sets. I got a set over set last night in a 4-bet pot. I was on the wrong side of it until I turned quads, which was rather nice. Try the ISO again with the ace 10 off versus best player. King queen off. I don't want to flat this. I don't want to fold it, so we are going to 3-bet. It's not a particularly happy 3-bet, but also if or when we get 4-bet, I don't really give a fuck because it's an easy fold. So happy enough with this. Checking back the ace 10 against best player. Might have the best hand. He's not going to fold a better hand very often. Don't want to give him the opportunity to raise me. Continue checking back. We've been called 4-bet here, which makes king queen off an incredibly trivial fold. I'm just going to take our ace 10 to showdown. Don't expect to win very often, but I think we'll probably win enough. This guy just gave up earlier with king queen off. So he does bet we're going to give him a little bit more credit. Bob was slightly different there, of course, but generally speaking, I see people just giving up on spots where some people would just like bet range on boards that are like theoretically better for them. When they do start betting, I typically give them a little bit more credit. Yes, jack off. Based on study sessions earlier, this can be a very low frequency flat. Such low frequency, I'm just never going to do it, and we're just going to 3-bet. 9's here, not ideal, but we get the extra juice from him calling, so we're going to try and flop a set. We fail, sadly. We have flop top pair with a limped pot over here. And we think best player is relatively passive, so we're just going to start leading out. Javi with them in 3-bet, looking very much like Andrea was. Call. Check back the nines. Fold. This guy looks very much like he's got kings, queens, some ace X here. Yep, ace queen. I'll be honest, I'm bored now. I was planning on playing until midday. It's currently 11:05. But these games are just dull. And I'm quite bored. So we're not going to play anymore. Well, I am. I'm going to go and play on my other side, or at least have a look at it. But yeah, there are some recreational players in these, some VIPs in these games, but they're just quite boring, to be frank, aren't they? So fuck it. Sit out next big blind. Feels like it's been either a very small winning session or a very small losing session. We played like 2 or 3 bigger pots, and the rest just been small pots. We've done quite a lot of like small reloading. I know what the account was on at the start of the video. I was planning on making more of these, but I'm just not gonna. They're just too dull. They're just too dull, I'm afraid. Lobby top pair here, backdoor flush draw, starting with a check against Mazek. Continuing checking. Quite tempting to want to bet there, pick up a draw, etc. But I think generally speaking, we want to check, and then we're just going to bet pretty big this river, and call versus raise because it wouldn't make sense. Does this lobby go full screen? Yep, that's ready for the end. So that's the end of this table. One more hand to see. No, we haven't. So we started the video with €290 in the account. Let's see what it is at the end. 287. So we lost €3. I'll take that. These aren't games we're going to be playing in, but at the end of this video, this is going to get withdrawn to, I don't know, €50. And if I'm going to, I'll just make some like 4L stuff, I think, because 25 game. We played the 4L the other day, and the tables were fun. And I enjoyed making the video. I didn't enjoy much about that. It was dull. There was a couple of recreational players, but mostly, and we don't have stats, but mostly just like tight, like weak, tight shit regs. Not an environment I enjoy playing in. So yeah, we're not gonna put myself or put you guys through it, but we are gonna probably withdraw back to like €50 and just like our live content, some 4L shit, and just like trying to play theoretically good poker in those games. So like I'm not gonna try and play GTO because that would be a shambles because I'm not a GTO player. We're gonna try and do like a mix of like right what theory wants us to do and like or what I think theory wants us to do, and then when I deviate from that, explain why. I think that's like a good videos to make. And at 4L, it's gonna like look a lot like the games a lot of people who view my channel. Um, it's gonna look like the games you guys played to an extent. So yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna withdraw this to like €50, not bother with the 25L, and yeah, that's gonna be the plans. Because I do enjoy making content. I do enjoy making live play videos most of the time. I just don't enjoy making them in really boring games. So yeah, and if we spin that up to say 100, fuck it, we might flick some 10L in. It's not a challenge or anything like that. But if I spin the roll up to enough where we can play 10L and have like some reloads in the chamber, we'll maybe do that. Yeah, just when I'm up early and kind of bother playing, or when I'm up early and the games I normally playing are bad. So yeah, I've rambled on a bit there. Thank you very much for watching. As always, fuck the Tories and fuck anyone that supports them. And I'll be back later in the week with more videos. Who knows when? I've got all week in the mornings off apart from Friday, so there's a good chance I might be quite productive this week. But if I can't get my fat ass out of bed, then who knows? I might not be. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.